I'm Zahir, Kelvin, Abdullah, and this is Nightline. The top stories: Malaysia's trade interests, Palestine issue to take center stage in talks with Trump at ASEAN Summit, says PM. And Japan's first female Prime Minister unveils cabinet hours after taking office. Good morning. The first woman to hold the office of Prime Minister of Japan, Sanae Takaichi, unveiled her cabinet just hours after being sworn in on Tuesday. The 64-year-old, Japan's 104th premier, won by a clear majority, securing 237 votes in the lower house and 125 in the upper house as a leader of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party. Takaichi was sworn in by Emperor Naruhito on Tuesday at noon before unveiling her cabinet. Among her key appointments, Toshimitsu Motegi returns as foreign minister, while Shinjiro Koizumi, her rival in the LDP leadership race, becomes defense minister. Takaichi will have at least two other female ministers in the cabinet. Satsuchi Katayama makes history as Japan's first female finance minister, and Kimi Onoda takes charge of economic security, also overseeing policies on foreigners, a first in Japan. Other posts include Yoshimasa Hayashi as Internal Affairs Minister, Ryosuke Akazawa as Trade Minister, Hitoshi Kikawada as Child Policy and Population Issues Minister. Takaichi's new administration ends a 3-month political vacuum following Shigeru Ishiba's resignation after the LDP's heavy election loss in July. Her victory marks a historic moment for Japan, but with the government still 2 seats short of a majority, political uncertainty remains. Earlier on Tuesday, Ishiba and his cabinet resigned, marking the end of an administration that lasted just over a year. In an extraordinary cabinet meeting held shortly before 9 a.m., ministers submitted their resignation letters formally dissolving the Ishiba cabinet. The 68-year-old took office on October 1st last year and served for 386 days, making him the 24th longest serving of Japan's 36 post-war prime ministers. Ishiba had announced his intention to step down in September, but his successor, LDP President Takaichi, needed more time to finalize a new coalition government. His resignation follows the LDP's heavy defeat in last year's lower house election soon after he took office. Meanwhile, expectations are running high for Japan's first woman prime minister, with many hoping her historic leadership will bring fresh momentum and stability to the nation's politics.
女性初の総理大臣ということで、女性としてはすごい期待しています。やっぱ女性に寄り添った政策であったりとか、女性がやっぱりちょっとどこか違和感を感じてたり、ちょっと生きづらかった世の中を少しでも良くしてくれると嬉しいなと思っています。
例えばこの辺で見れば中国だとかね、北朝鮮だとかロシアみたいな圧力に屈しないで済むのは彼女しかいないだろうと。今までの石破さんじゃ当然話にならないよ。岸田もイコール、菅もダメだったよと。だからもう千載一遇のチャンスだよね。10年のいいことだ。この10年の中で最高の出来事。
Meanwhile, Datuk Anwar Ibrahim has extended his congratulations to Takaichi on her appointment as Japan's new Prime Minister. The Prime Minister said Takaichi's appointment as the first woman to lead Japan marks a historic milestone in the political landscape of the land of the rising sun. In a post on his Facebook page, Anwar said the appointment reflects Takaichi's resolve and the maturity of Japan's democratic system. He added that Malaysia greatly values its comprehensive strategic partnership with Japan, which is founded on mutual trust, innovation, and a shared commitment to regional stability and sustainable growth. He also looks forward to welcoming Takaichi to Kuala Lumpur next week for the ASEAN-Japan Summit as part of efforts to further strengthen cooperation between the two nations. Anwar further expressed his appreciation to former Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba for his visit to Malaysia earlier this year. Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim will raise the issue of Palestinian rights and seek to strengthen Malaysia-United States trade relations during a closed-door meeting with President Donald Trump at the 47 ASEAN Summit. The Prime Minister said while Trump had at least managed to halt Israel's attacks on Gaza through his peace plan, further efforts are needed to ensure lasting peace and to safeguard the rights and aspirations of the Palestinian people.
Trump did a major service in stopping at least the bombings in Gaza. But our challenge is, of course, to ensure that peace prevail and justice prevail, and ultimately the legitimate interests and aspirations of the Palestinians be accorded their rights.
The Prime Minister said this during the In Conversation with Anwar Ibrahim session held in conjunction with the PNB Knowledge Forum 2025 in the capital on Tuesday. Anwar also stressed that Malaysia's foreign policy will continue to be guided by a balanced and principled approach. This includes maintaining friendship and cooperation with all major powers, including China and the European Union, while expanding trade and diplomatic ties with emerging regions such as Latin America and Africa. In addition to issues concerning Gaza, discussions with Trump will also cover Malaysia-US trade and investment relations.
I want to make use of this opportunity, of course, to protect the interests of Malaysia in terms of trade, investments, but also to express some of my personal views on what I think will be good for Malaysia, for the United States, for the world.
Earlier on Monday, Trump confirmed that he would soon be traveling to Malaysia, Japan and South Korea. It marks the first time he has publicly mentioned plans to visit Malaysia, though he did not provide further details. Despite renewed trade tensions between the US and China, Trump struck an optimistic tone ahead of a possible meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea next week.
I've been invited to go to China, and I'll be doing that sometime fairly early next year. We have it sort of set. But I think we're going to have a very good relationship with China.
Trump is expected to make a 3-day visit to Japan from October 27 after traveling to Malaysia for the ASEAN Summit. He is also expected to attend the APEC Summit in South Korea from October 31st to November 1st. The upcoming trip to Asia will be his first to the region since beginning his second term in January. In a related development, police are maintaining a heightened focus on potential threats of extremism and terrorism that may seek to disrupt the 47 ASEAN Summit. Inspector General of Police, Dato Sri Muhammad Khalid Ismail, said in addition to those risks, cyber security threats, the potential for demonstrations and traffic management during the summit have been identified as key challenges for the authorities. According to the top cop, police have mobilized more than 10,000 personnel to ensure security throughout the event, in addition to deploying various land and air assets, including surveillance drones, high-tech closed-circuit television or CCTV systems, and integrated tactical communication networks. He added that security measures during the summit will also cover all key entry points into the country, including airports, ports, and land borders. Strategic areas across the Klang Valley are also being closely monitored, and all police contingents have been directed to enhance their state of readiness. At the same time, Kuala Lumpur Police Chief Dato Fadil Marsus warned that stern action would be taken against anyone attempting to cause disruptions during the ASEAN Summit.
Jangan ganggu event. Jangan ada aktiviti yang mengganggu event. Jangan ada aktiviti yang mengganggu laluan event. Dan yang paling penting, jangan ada aktiviti yang mengganggu ketenteraman awam.
He also urged the public to take note of all road closures and diversions implemented throughout the summit and to use alternative routes to help ease traffic congestion in the city. At the same media conference, Fadil said police have dismantled 2 drug syndicates involved in processing and distributing various types of narcotics worth 3.8 million ringgit around Kuala Lumpur and Selangor. He added that 3 local men and 3 foreign women aged between 33 and 61 were arrested in 6 raids conducted between October 14 and 17. In total, over half a ton of drugs, including ecstasy, ganja, Aramin 5 pills and ketamine were seized. Investigations reveal that the syndicates operated from gated and guarded condominiums rented through property agents, which were used as storage and processing facilities to package the drugs before carrying out exchanges with customers in shopping mall parking lots. 2 of the suspects have 3 prior criminal and drug-related records. All 6 suspects have been remanded to assist in investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. The 14-year-old suspect in the Banda Utama school stabbing is set to be charged with the murder of a fellow student on Wednesday. The Attorney General's chambers confirmed that the decision was made after it had reviewed the investigation papers submitted by the police on the death of the 16-year-old girl. In a statement, the AG's chambers said it had determined that there was sufficient basis to press charges under Section 302 of the Penal Code against the male student involved in the incident. It also said that the suspect would be brought to the Petaling Jaya Magistrates Court on Wednesday morning. Earlier, it was reported that the police had secured an additional 7-day remand until next Tuesday against the boy who is being investigated for the murder of his schoolmate Yap Xing Xuan. He had previously been remanded for 7 days since October 15. Xing Xuan died after multiple stab wounds at the school last Tuesday. The suspect was arrested hours after the stabbing incident, which occurred at 9:10 a.m. Police said they seized 2 sharp weapons found in the suspect's possession, believed to have been used in the attack. The Prime Minister said Malaysia aims to strengthen its position as a trusted investment hub. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim emphasised that the government will also ensure that local enterprises and new companies are not left behind. Speaking at the closing of the DHL Go Trade Summit 2025 in Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday, Anwar said small and medium enterprises will continue to receive support through expanded guarantees and financing facilities.
The path forward must be guided by technology, sustainability and inclusivity. Digital transformation, artificial intelligence and automation are no longer luxuries. They are the very tools that will determine competitiveness in the years ahead.
He added that ASEAN serves as a vital link in the global supply chain, a fast-growing manufacturing base and market with a population of 680 million. ASEAN is also projected to become the world's 4th largest economy within the next 5 years. Malaysia's economy grew 5.2% in the 3rd quarter of this year, exceeding market expectations. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, the advanced estimate shows stronger growth compared to 4.4% in the previous quarter. The services sector remained the main driver, while the mining sector surged 10.9%, supported by higher crude oil and natural gas output. The manufacturing sector also strengthened, led by electrical, electronic and food products, while construction remained stable. The growth was further supported by household spending, private investment and a 12.2% rise in exports in September. Economists also say the strong performance may reduce pressure on Bank Negara to ease monetary policy, with the OPR expected to remain at 2.75%. 4 injured as lorry crashes into 3 vehicles. More from the local front after this breather.
Michelin innovates on the road and far beyond by developing an inflatable sail aimed at reducing CO2 emissions in maritime travel. Michelin, motion for life.
Oktober, O-nya untuk apa? O untuk orang yang tersayang.
Sayang, bawa saya jalan-jalan.
Saya appreciate apa yang awak buat. Tapi awak tak boleh pressure saya.
O untuk orang yang terpilih.
Ayah tetap tak benarkan kau jadi penyanyi. Dosa you, dosa I.
Sejak bila you boleh jadi alim sangat ni?
O untuk, oh ya, jangan lupa cerita Ahad setiap Ahad di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Deepawali Navatukal bagi penganut Hindu. Semoga perayaan ini membawa kebahagiaan kepada anda. Pinktober Bulan Kesedaran Kanser Payudara. Bersama kami menyantuni pejuang kanser. Salah laku seks dalam kalangan remaja? Adakah bahan pornografi di hujung jari? Lemon Law melengkapkan akta sedia ada. Bantu lindungi pengguna hadapi isu kenderaan. Simpan untuk ganjaran, tuai hasil yang menguntungkan. Isnin hingga Jumaat 10 pagi, eksklusif di TV3 dan ditonton.
2 jiwa dipukul luka dan kehilangan.
Wah, lebih sayangkan dia.
Bangun, ke?
Untuk mencari cahaya yang hilang.
Kau bukan cucu aku lagi.
Nanti kita sama-sama pujuk dia.
Boleh kan? Kita boleh jumpa semua kat sini.
Kau stok aku?
I betul-betul suka dia.
Dia bukan macam kita.
Sudikah kau jadi kawan aku?
Jika itu salahku, Jumaat dan Sabtu 9 malam di Lestari TV3 dan stream 24 jam lebih awal ditonton.
Aku balik. Dasar anak cik cur. Betul. Aku cakap apa? Aku cakap kau tu anak cik cur. Tak dengar ke?
You're watching Nightline. Police have arrested a 22-year-old man believed to be responsible for a 5-vehicle crash on the new Klang Valley Expressway, or NKVE, in Petaling Jaya, Selangor. Dashcam footage, which has gone viral on social media, shows a black SUV being driven recklessly by the suspect, leading to the pileup. According to District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Shamsuddin Mamat, the incident, which involved 2 lorries and 3 other vehicles, occurred at about 5:17 p.m. last Saturday. Investigations revealed that the SUV had been speeding and weaving through traffic before losing control, crashing into the metal barrier in the middle of the highway and spinning to the left side of the road. A lorry approaching from behind then collided with several vehicles that had slowed down at the scene. Checks showed that the suspect had no prior record. The case is being investigated under the Road Transport Act for reckless and dangerous driving. Also in Selangor, 4 people were injured in an accident after a tipper lorry lost control and rammed into 3 other vehicles near Pekan Kapar Klang on Tuesday morning. The incident, which occurred at about 9 a.m., saw the lorry collide with a garbage truck and 2 cars at the traffic light junction along Jalan Meru Tambahan in Kampong Bukit, Churaka. Dashcam footage of the incident, which has since gone viral, showed several vehicles beginning to move as the traffic light turned green when the lorry coming from the left failed to stop and plowed into them before overturning. The crash left 3 male foreign nationals and a 34-year-old local woman injured. Selangor Fire and Rescue Department Assistant Operations Director Ahmad Mukhlis Mokhtar said his team received an emergency call at 9:16 a.m. and a team of firefighters was immediately deployed to the scene. The 4 victims had been pulled out by members of the public before the rescue team arrived. They were later handed over to the Health Ministry personnel for treatment. In Kedah, 2 friends have been remanded for 7 days to assist in investigations into a fireworks explosion that injured 22 people during a Deepavali celebration in Paya Besar Lunas early Monday. The remand order was issued by the Kulim Magistrates Court on Tuesday. District Police Chief Superintendent Zulkifli Azizan said one of the suspects, who had been intoxicated at the time, had allegedly purchased a firecracker worth 200 ringgit and later inserted it into a cylinder by the roadside as friends and passers-by stopped to watch the fireworks display. However, investigations reveal that the firecracker had likely been placed upside down. The second suspect then lit the firecracker, causing it to explode on the ground. So far, statements of 10 victims have been recorded by the authorities. The case is being investigated under the Explosives Act and the Penal Code. Also in Kedah, 4 teenage boys pleaded not guilty at the Children's Court in Baling on Tuesday to separate charges of physical sexual assault involving a 15-year-old girl. The accused, aged 15 and one aged 17, entered their pleas before Judge Rohaida Ishak during a closed-door proceeding. According to the charges, the alleged incidents took place on 4 different occasions in June, July and August at several locations, including a classroom and palm oil estates in Siong. The charges were framed under the Sexual Offences Against Children Act, which carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison and whipping upon conviction. Deputy Public Prosecutor Amirul Halimi Muhammad Saleh appeared for the prosecution while the boys were unrepresented. The court set a bail at 3,000 ringgit for each accused and fixed November 27 for case mention. Previously, it was reported that 3 students and a former student of a secondary school were detained on suspicion of statutory rape and for circulating a video recording of immoral acts involving a minor. One of the suspects is believed to be the victim's boyfriend. Aid to Gaza far below target. The details when Nightline returns.
Michelin innovates on the road and far beyond by developing an inflatable sail aimed at reducing CO2 emissions in maritime travel. Michelin, motion for life.
Cahaya Deepa Valley menyuluh realiti. Majalah 3, 20 Oktober.
Masa tu 2 anak saya tak ada makan minum. Saya susah-susah sangat.
Pembelian dia bawah 100, dia tak boleh beli satu pun.
999, 21 Oktober.
Perselisihan faham dan juga pertengkaran.
Fail Mahkamah, 22 Oktober. Hanya di TV3.
So scene yang paling saya suka masa ritual. The best scene saya pernah tengok dalam cerita horror. 10 out of 10.
Scene yang paling best yang dia dekat attic dia tu.
Macam US sikit kan?
Macam US. 10 out of 10 lah.
9/10. Scene yang hampir di hujung. Reveal lah semua benda yang terjadi tu sebenarnya kenapa. Dia punya editing kat situ memang best.
Abang sendiri akan rasa bersalah bila Nisa gaduh dengan Umi nanti kan?
Nisa janganlah melawan.
Masihkah dirinya harus mengorbankan segalanya?
Sada Nisa boleh tolong akak tak? Tolong tengokkan baby kat atas, dia tengah tidur.
Walau hati sendiri terluka.
Nisa mengajuk dengan abang
Wah, tu pun bukan kehendak abang kan? Tak apalah, Nisa faham.
Seindah Hujan Cinta, Minggu akhir, Isnin hingga Rabu 10 malam di Samarinda TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Macam mana kalau bekas gangster jatuh cinta? Tapi dengan influencer konten kanak-kanak, sweet ke tak sweet?
괜찮으세요?
음식이 장난이야? 어제 피부가 어지럽대서 소세지가 뭐 죄졌어?
My Sweet Mobster setiap Rabu hingga Jumaat 11 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
The foreign front. The Gaza government media office announced on Tuesday that only 986 trucks carrying humanitarian aid have entered the Gaza Strip since the ceasefire took effect, far below the agreed number. Under the deal, 6,600 trucks were supposed to enter by Monday, or about 600 a day, but the average has been less than 90 daily. On Monday, only 14 trucks with cooking gas and 28 with fuel entered, supplying bakeries, hospitals, hospitals and other essential services. The office accused Israel of continuing its policy of suffocation, starvation, and humanitarian blackmail against more than 2.4 million residents. Gaza officials warned that these limited supplies fall well short of basic needs and urge for the immediate and regular entry of at least 600 trucks daily. Meanwhile, Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani on Tuesday condemned Israel's infractions in Palestine, including what he called the continued violation of the ceasefire.
ونؤكد هنا إدانتنا لجميع الانتهاكات والممارسات الإسرائيلية في فلسطين ولا سيما تحويل قطاع غزة إلى منطقة غير صالحة للحياة البشرية ومواصلة خرق وقف إطلاق النار وتوسيع الاستيطان في الضفة الغربية ومساعي تهويد الحرم القدسي الشريف، مؤكدين أيضا على أن قطاع غزة جزءا لا يتجزأ من الأراضي الفلسطينية من الدولة الفلسطينية الموحدة.
Israeli attacks have continued across Gaza despite the ceasefire agreed on October 10th, with 13 bodies reportedly received by hospitals in the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, Hamas said it will hand over the bodies of 2 more Israeli hostages, bringing the total to 20 released alive, with the remains of 14 others returned so far. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy is said to begin serving his jail term at La Santé prison in Paris on Tuesday after being sentenced to 5 years for receiving illegal campaign funds from Libya. The 70-year-old was found guilty last month of criminal conspiracy in connection with millions of euros allegedly funneled from the regime of former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi into his 2007 presidential campaign. Sarkozy has denied all allegations and is appealing the verdict, but the court ordered him to begin his sentence immediately. He will be held in a special unit for high-profile inmates, and because of his age, he may apply for conditional release upon entry. Sarkozy is the first former French leader to be jailed since Nazi collaborator Marshal Philippe Pétain after World War II. On to sports now. Football. Johor Darul Takzim finally secured their first win in this season's AFC Champions League Elite, defeating China's Chengdu Rongcheng 2-0 on Tuesday. The Southern Tigers made a strong start at the Phoenix Hill Sports Park Stadium in Sichuan, taking the lead as early as the 5th minute through Oscar Arribas. JDT continued to pile under pressure in search of a second goal, but the score remained 1-0 at the break. In the second half, coach Cisco Munoz brought on defender Shane Lowry to replace Eddie Israfilov, who had picked up an injury late in the first half. Nacho Mendez then made it 2-0 for the Southern Tigers in the 62nd minute, with the score prevailing until the final whistle. The result lifts them to 5th in the AFC Champions League East standings with 4 points. Turning to squash and the 2025 US Open in Philadelphia. It was a day of highs and lows for national player S. Sivasangari, who suffered a shock second-round exit to Egypt's Sana Ibrahim on Monday. The 7th seed fought bravely in a thrilling 64-minute duel, but was edged out 11-13, 12-10, 9-11, 10-12 by the world number 18. After losing a close first game, Siva Sangari showed true grit to level the match in the second. She saved 2 match balls in a tense fourth game, refusing to give in. But despite her best efforts, the 25-year-old could not turn the tide as Sana held her nerve for the win. It was Siva Sangari's first defeat in 6 meetings against the Egyptian. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, here's a look at a new wave of climbers scaling Nepal's hidden Himalayan peaks in search of solitude and the chance to make their first ascent. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin and Abdullah. Thank you for watching and stay safe.